Hey YouTube, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's ClemtheKraken, and today I kind of have like a rambly talky video for you guys that doesn't really have any specific purpose other than just sharing some cool experiences that I've had in the last year. So we'll see how this turns out. But basically what I wanted to do was sit down and talk about um, the various YouTuber experiences that I've had recently because I've actually gone to several shows that YouTubers have done. The first one was the Dan and Phil Go Outside tour, and then the Markiplier tour, and then Dan and Phil's Interactive Introverts tour, and then finally the Jacksepticeye How Did We Get Here tour. And I just wanted to kind of talk about just my various experiences at these different shows and what the shows were like, because they were all a lot of fun. And YouTube is not, believe it or not, being on YouTube, YouTube is not something that I actually was into for a long, long time. Like, because YouTube came out in 2005, and I don't think I was even like all that exposed to YouTube until like 2014. And when I was exposed to YouTube, I hadn't been watching any of those people. Like, those are all like some of the most popular people. And I hadn't really been exposed to any of those people yet. So I don't really have like a life story surrounding them. Like, I can't say that any of these people saved my life or made my life any different because they just haven't been there for that long, to be honest with you. Dan and Phil would be the ones who've been there the longest, but I don't even think I discovered Jack until I got into college. And I'm only in my third year of college, so that will tell you how long it's been. So going to these YouTuber like shows is kind of a new and different experience for me. The first one that I went to, the Dan and Phil How Did We Get Here tour, I went with a couple of friends of mine, and we decided to get tickets. It was on a whim. I was actually looking up tickets for their show and discovered that they were a lot cheaper than any of us thought. So we actually bought tickets for it, and we went, and it was super fun, had a lot of fun. The two friends that I went with kind of, I don't want to say abandoned me because they didn't, but they weren't very open with how they were how they were planning their day. So they didn't tell me that they were hanging out beforehand, and they didn't tell me that they would be, getting to the show early so that they could get in line for merch, and they didn't really offer to meet me anywhere or anything like that. So I got to the show, when I got to the show, and I sat in my seat by myself for a while. And the people next to me were very nice and offered to do the cat nose and whiskers on me, which I appreciated. And the show was a lot of fun. I remember that show quite clearly. It was the first one that I had went to. And after it, I got their merch. Not at the show, but later when it went on sale on their website, because I'm cheap. But I went outside to see Dan and Phil's shirt. I actually went outside to see Dan and Phil on tour shirt from their first tour. So then, after that one, I was, interested in seeing more people live, but nobody I really knew was going live, and a lot of the YouTubers I watch aren't actually from America, so, oftentimes if they do go on a tour, it's a small one or it's a local one, or they just don't come to America for one reason or another. And so the second one I went to was the Markiplier one, the, did it have a name? The You're Welcome tour. And I actually got VIP tickets for this for me and then my friend Steph. And the VIP experience was that you got to go to the show about an hour early, and you had access to the merch line early, and you got to listen to Mark perform songs on his guitar because he had been practicing music, and then sing along. And it was a very cool experience. It was a lot of fun. It was an improv show, which is something that my friend Steph is really into. Me, I mean, I like improv, but I don't go out of my way to consume improv. So it was fun though. It was a good group of people because it was Bob, Wade, Ethan, and Tyler with Mark. And I've always liked the videos that they've done together. And then part of it was that you got a signed VIP badge from Mark, with the You're Welcome tour. And to be fair, his wasn't very personal. They did a Q&A at the end, but it was kind of a group Q&A, and it wasn't a very personal tour. It was kind of just it was kind of Mark saying, hey, you guys have asked for a tour for the longest time, so I have the means to do it. I have a group to do it with. Let's go on tour. And at that point, I had still been watching Mark. I think I started watching Mark sometime during when Five Nights at Freddy's was coming out. I don't remember which one, but I remember I watched him do the entire series, all 5 games. But I'd say that since then I haven't really watched Mark as much. I've kind of fallen out of favor with him. I don't really like the content he's putting out. I don't really like the attitude that he has right now. And it's kind of a hit or miss thing. Some people like it. Some people enjoy the change. Some people think he's still the same Mark. I'm just not into him anymore. But I really did enjoy the experience. It was worth it, in my opinion, to go. My friend and I, we had a lot of fun. It was a cool weekend. It was a nice break from school. So it was, all in all, it was a good experience. I would not change that experience. I would not go back now, knowing that I don't enjoy his content as much and not go to a show. So I went to a show and I really enjoyed it. And then for Christmas last year, I bought my sister Interactive Introverts tickets, which is Dan and Phil's second show, the one that they've actually kind of done worldwide versus just, Europe, or not even Europe, just like UK and US. And I knew when they announced the second tour, I immediately wanted to take my sister because she's like Dan and Phil, probably as long as I have, because we used to watch some of their videos together, and she hasn't really seen any YouTubers in person, and at that point I had already seen 2, and so she wanted to see them, and I knew she wanted to see them, and so I tried my hardest to get VIP tickets, but I couldn't. They were sold out by the time I got there, even though, I was on the website as soon as the tickets went on sale. So I didn't get a chance to take her to VIP, but I did get a chance to take her to the show. And I also knew that my friend Steph, who was staying with us for the summer, would be there, so I got him a ticket as well. And then I actually had an extra ticket because I messed up when I was ordering, and I bought 2 tickets at the same time, and then I bought a 3rd ticket, and then a better seat came up for the 3rd ticket, so I bought another ticket, and I was too late on trying to resell my last ticket. So if anybody didn't get a chance to go see Dan and Phil at the Seattle show because they didn't have a ticket, I'm sorry. I had an extra ticket. But I took my sister to see this show, and I was a little hesitant from the beginning because they were advertising the shows, giving the people what they want, which, when it comes to Dan and Phil's fans, is not always something that I'm fond of. Their fans, I feel like I was trying to describe it to someone, and basically, I feel like Dan and Phil have matured, but Dan and Phil's fans have not matured. So they're still stuck in the lol random XD phase of, the original Dan and Phil content when they were first putting things out. So giving the people what they want was not, necessarily an appealing idea to me because they wanted to see, things like Dan and Phil getting in trouble or going to hell or, accidentally tweeting pictures of, private pictures. So, they established at the beginning that they weren't going to do things like reenact fan fiction or, you know, be weird. Things that were, like, very off limits, which I really appreciated because I was a little worried that we would walk down that path. But I don't know. I just don't really enjoy their fandom as much as some of the other people that I really enjoy watching. So while the show was a lot of fun, being in that audience was very stressful, for lack of a better term, especially me being an introverted person, interactive introverts. I don't like being in large crowds. I don't like being around a lot of noise for a long time, and their crowd was just like not the most comfortable crowd that I've ever been in. So that was kind of the only downside to that. Other than that, I had a lot of fun. Steph had a lot of fun. My sister had a lot of fun, and it was really cool to see them again in person and to take my sister to their show. I actually don't have any merch from their show because we weren't going to wait in line at the show for that. But they did just put it up on their website, so I'm hoping maybe for this Christmas I can get my sister some of their merch. So that was early in the month of August, and then at the very beginning of this month, September, I'm going to date myself on this video, but I had the opportunity to take Steph to his first PAX, which is the big gaming convention. There's like 4 of them. So there's PAX Prime, PAX West, or the one in Seattle, which is that was the first PAX. And then there's PAX East, which everybody hears about because of the YouTubers that go to it. And then there's PAX South now, and I think there's PAX Australia and PAX Unplugged. Anyways, I've been to PAX several times because my dad and my mom are both in the gaming industry, were in the gaming industry, and my dad has consistently been in companies that do shows there, that go there, that sell things there, that display things there, that play test things there, that demo things there. So he goes there and he'd work there, and so I actually have a PAX badge from 2008, which tells you how long it's been. Like I'd say the first time minimum that I went to it was 10 years ago. And then since my parents have kind of been in and out of the industry, we haven't gone as often, but this year I was able to buy my own tickets. And so I got tickets for myself and Steph to go on Friday and Saturday. And on Friday, I found out later, Jacksepticeye was doing an autograph session. And I was like, awesome, that would be totally cool to go and meet him in person right before I go to see a show the next Monday. And so I did a bunch of research, and as it turns out, the autograph session was at noon, the convention opened at 10, and they were opening the line for the signing at 8 a.m. And everything I read online was like, if you don't get there right when it opens, you might as well just give up and go home because it's not going to be open. And so Steph and I were not planning on getting there at 8 a.m. We were planning on getting there at like 9:30 because the convention opened at 10 and I knew there was going to be lines, blah, 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 blah. So we show up at 9:30 only to find out through the app that I had that the line like wasn't even half full. So we went and got in line to see Jack, and we waited until the thing opened at noon, so it was like 2.5 hours. And then we actually didn't even get up to the front of the line until 2, which is another 2 hours. So we were in line for like 4 hours straight, no food, surrounded by people who were either very annoying or, pretty pleasant. We're actually sitting next to a couple, like a dating couple, who had like no concept of personal space. So they just kept running into things because they were goofing around and being all touchy-feely, and it was, whatever. So we finally got up to meet Jack, and it was totally awesome. I actually have a video of me meeting him, which I will put in now.
Good.
Do you mind signing my Switch?
Sure.
I saw you got gold pens over there. So.
Gold or silver? What do you want?
Ooh, silver. Told you he had silver.
Probably did. Like,
Very excited to see you on Monday. Got VIP as well.
Awesome. Can't wait. It's going to be good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.
and I actually asked him, as you saw in the video, to sign my Switch. So I have my Switch signed by Jack, and then also by Robin, who is Jack's editor, who is also at the show. So it was totally awesome. I got him to sign my Switch. I got to meet him in person. He was super, super nice. And like just a lovely, lovely person. And I told him, as you saw in the video, that we were coming to a show on Monday and that we had gotten VIP for it. Because this was another show that I was like super, super excited about. Managed to get the VIP tickets as soon as I could. And so the following Monday, then, Steph and I got to go to a show. We were VIP, so we got to get there early. And we didn't really have access to the merch line or anything, but what we did have access to was a full hour-long Q&A session with Jack. And I didn't get to ask a question. I had a question to ask him, and I didn't get to ask it, but the questions that were asked were all very interesting to, you know, to me, to a person who likes Jack and likes hearing his responses to things and likes hearing other people talk about, you know, how Jack has affected them in a positive way. Because, in my opinion, Jack is definitely one of the best YouTubers that I've found as far as the way he treats his community and carries himself and, you know, is very open and honest about what he's going through at any point or what he, you know, is dealing with, what he needs time for. So it was a very nice Q&A session, very relaxing, very calm, and so it was an hour long. So we sat with him for an hour before general admission was let in. And then once general admission was let in, it was about another hour until the show started. Before the show had started, when we were coming in with the VIP, I had made a couple of gifts for him and for Wishu, and I put them in the box for him. And there's actually a picture on his Instagram of him holding my art, which I will put in now. And it was just a very cool experience to sit down and hear that, like, honest, you know, kind of one-on-one Q&A with him without the crowd screaming and, you know, without the camera being there. It was just very nice. So, and then the other part of the VIP experience was a signed poster from Jack. Like, it's obviously not, ooh, lighting. There we go. It's obviously not personalized in any way because there's no way he could have done that, but it is personalized in the fact that it has the specific show on it, and then, you know, you've got his signature, because the other posters that they were selling has the entire American tour on it, so the VIP ones were a little bit more personalized because they had the specific show on there. So that was part of the VIP experience, was getting those posters. And then, so then the show started, and it was a totally awesome show. I'm not going to say anything because I know he's still doing more tour, even as of this video going up. And he really wants it to be a personal, special thing for each group who goes to see it. So I'm not going to say anything specifically about the tour, but it was very nice. It was funny. It was genuinely funny. Some of the stories he told were just, like, relatable. And he was very open and honest, and he went through his life and all of the things that he felt, and how he ended up doing YouTube. And it was very assuring to hear from him that, you know, YouTube takes time, because every time you see a YouTuber, it's always like they're hitting milestones left and right, and all the people that you watch are already big. And if you're starting out like I am on this channel, or like Steph and I are on our gaming channel, it can be very disheartening to see people with, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of subscribers do things so well and get the views that they want, things like that. And then to turn around and look at yourself and be like, I have 12 subscribers and nobody watches anything. So it was kind of nice to hear that, like, yeah, he did get a source of subscribers, of views from the PewDiePie shout out, but it really wasn't that took him off. Like, you don't need a shout out to get places in the business. So it was an interesting show. It was good to watch. It was good to listen to. My one, like, the one tiny thing that I didn't like about the show was kind of the people who were sitting around. There was someone behind us who kept shouting. The person who was sitting next to me was on her phone, like texting people during the show. And that one's always a toss-up, you know. The audience can make or break a show for you, but in my opinion, Jack was more important than the people I was sitting around. And then after the show, Steph and I got in line for the merch. It was about an hour line. They had one guy doing the merch. I felt so bad for him that he was the only one there. But I was also upset. I was also annoyed because the people going up to merch would, like, go up after being in line for half an hour and go, I think, I don't know. I guess I'll get the pin. It's like, come on, man. You've been sitting in the line for an hour. You should know what you want by the time you get there and what size you want it in, if it's like a shirt or something. But I got the shirt. How did we get here? I got the pin, and I got my sister the hat, the beanie, because she wanted something and he didn't have a sweatshirt up. And I'm hoping that when Christmas rolls around, my parents might get me some PMA merch because I like that. But the show was totally awesome, and meeting Jack was also totally awesome, and he's such a genuine guy, and you can tell even when you go up to meet him, watching him interact with other people, he's just so, you know, comforting and honest, and he's just a lovely guy. And it proved to me that how much I like him and how much energy I put into watching his stuff, and how much I rave about him to other people, to my friends, to my family. It's like everything, like my belief in him and all of that is like so genuinely well deserved, and he is so awesome. And you know, you can think that about the way he talks in his videos and things like that, but seeing it in real life just really kind of cements it that this is actually who he is. So it was really awesome seeing his show and seeing him being able to have that opportunity to do the autograph session and to learn how that works and get, you know, my Switch signed and things like that. It was a really awesome weekend, meeting him and then also seeing his show. And I'm so grateful that I got to share it with my friend Steph, because he, you know, likes these people as much as I do, and I like being able to give people the opportunity to have experiences like that, you know, by doing things like buying tickets for other people. And so that's kind of been my experience with the YouTube shows that I've gone to, the people I've seen in person. I have liked every show that I've gone to. Like I said, even though the crowds may have been bad, or like the fact that I don't watch Mark's videos as much anymore, it's still been, you know, incredible experiences getting to see all of them in person, to see their shows, to experience it with the people that I enjoy being with, my friends, my sister, things like that. It's been totally awesome, and I enjoy it, and I hope that if people do shows in the future, I can go see them. And I hope that everybody out there who wants to see a show gets the opportunity to see a show, because they're definitely worth it. It doesn't matter what seat you're in, if you're VIP or not, it's definitely worth it to go and see these shows from the people that you love. So that's enough rambling from me. This video's got to be like half an hour long. I just wanted to share my experiences because they were really fun, and I think it's nice to hear about them. I don't know. It kind of stems from a place of wanting to share in a little bit of a boasty way, but also wanting to share in a genuine, like, I had this experience if anybody was curious kind of way. But it doesn't come from a place of wanting to be prideful and, you know, cause other people anger or upset because I'm like, oh, I got to see Jack, Mark, and Dan and Phil. It's not meant to be like that. I don't mean that in any way. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you'd like to hear more like storytelling videos, or if you have questions that you want me to answer, definitely put them down in the comments. As always, give me ideas for videos that you would want to see from me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!